Testing 1, 2, 1, 2. Welcome aboard House Culture Conversations. Hello, hello, hello. Anybody out there? All right. I think we're good. What's good, DJ Dewey B?
DJ D Lot, good to see you, brother.
Hey, good to see you. How was your week?
Week's not bad. Week is not bad. We made it to the end of the week. That's the best part of it.
Yeah, well, and the weather's starting to cooperate, I think.
Well, we had some tornadoes yesterday, but we was working through it. We working through it.
You got to have warmer weather for that,
Right.
But I'm excited because spring kicks off here in April, and then that's a sign that the weather's getting ready to break a little bit. May, June should be really good. But
Yes.
we've got a guest tonight that we don't know what the weather is like because he's all the way on the other side of the pond. So I'm excited to bring him on, and we're going to ask him that question right out the shoot. But let's bring out SoulGasmic DJ real quick. What's happening, SoulGasmic? Good to see you.
SoulGasmic.
Howdy all.
All right now.
Hey, and we see you out there. Don't hesitate to comment. If you're on Twitch, you know what to do. Get in that chat and let SoulGasmic know that you're feeling them, you're listening in, and you're supporting. It is midnight your time, SoulGasmic, correct?
Yeah, it's nice and dark here.
Hey, well, we appreciate you so much for hanging out to do this conversation. What's the weather like out there?
It's warmed up a little bit. We had a day last week that was about 17 degrees, and everyone thought summer was here. But it's been a bit drizzly and rainy for the last few days, so everyone's kind of been brought back down to reality again.
Right, and that's Celsius, right? That's Celsius,
Yes.
right? I gotta remember, right? Your Fahrenheit and Celsius, right? 17 is like how much Fahrenheit? What is that? Like 60, something like that.
I don't know. It's the same with time zones over there. It confuses the hell out of me. You've got two
welcome.
time zones as well, haven't you? So
yeah, exactly. So, well, anyway, welcome. It's so good to have you. Tell folks where you're from.
So I'm from a sleepy little town called Fakenham, which a lot of people mispronounce the name, but it's in a county called Norfolk, which is on kind of like the southeast coast of England. So
now how far from London?
probably about a 3-hour car journey. So not too far, but far enough.
Yeah, most of us in the U.S. we know like London. We know London, and I spent a lot of time in my day in a town called Basingstoke.
Yeah.
When I traveled out that way, and Dewey, I know you spent some time over there back when you were doing your thing.
Yeah, we went to we performed at the Southport Weekender. I'm not sure how close that is to you, SoulGasmic.
So Southport's Liverpool, so that's a bit further up north. So that's probably like 4.5 hours. So
yeah. It's a big island. I just want to say that it's a big island.
not as big as your island, though.
Oh my gosh! So tell us how you got into this thing called house.
I almost stumbled into it really. I got into stuff quite late. I've always been kind of a music lover, but it wasn't until we had a little sort of shop called Woolworths, which you probably have never heard of. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I used to go down, buy the albums from there, with my pocket money and stuff like that. And that was where I first come across kind of like dance music as such. That the house thing hadn't really reached across here yet, so it's probably like late 90s when those kind of like Ibiza albums first started coming out and stuff like that. So yeah, late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. Hey, SpongeBob Dave, good to see you. Welcome aboard. I want to make sure I say hello to everybody that's chiming in out there and say hello. Danny Thomas, thank you so much for joining in and listening to this conversation. It is one that I've been looking forward to. Oh, no Southport Weekender. Oh, it's a festival. Okay, got it. Yeah. All right. Okay, so we got everybody out there. We have been thinking about this thing called house, and over the years it has just morphed into so many things. So Gasmic, why do you think it's continued to thrive. I mean, you picked it up in the early 2000s, and here we are 20 years later, and it's worldwide. It's crazy. Why do you think that is?
I think it's us. It's the people, it's the fans, it's the DJs. We're the ones that really drive it. And I know the producers make the music. Generally, the DJs are the ones that play it. But I think without our passion of supporting and following where it's all going, it would all fall down on its face. So I think it's us that drives it forward, and it has changed through the years. But essentially, it's our passion, I think, and the love for it.
Yeah, I love that. DJ Dewey B, your thoughts?
Yes, it's definitely the love of the music and how that music drives you, it drives your soul. That's what makes it soulgasmic, as they say.
So as you listen to the experience now in the streaming world, a lot of US DJs and a lot of UK and all across the world, what are some of the differences that you see from DJs in different parts of the world? I would say the US and UK, but in just your opinion, as you look around a more global view, what are some of those things you see?
I kind of think there are only subtle differences. I mean, I think the culture is a little bit different across the pond. I think with you guys, most of the time, I would class you as kind of more like deep, soulful, that type of vibe. Whereas I think over here, we're generally maybe a little bit more housey. That's the kind of impression that I get, but that's not like, there is some housey American DJs out there, but I think you really get into that kind of deep, soulful vibe a lot of the time. And the other thing that I find, because of the time zone difference, so obviously when I'm streaming, it's like early morning, sort of afternoon for you guys. And when you guys are generally streaming, I miss a lot of that because it's always in the middle of the night. You guys get up and go and stream before breakfast, like you're having a party at breakfast time. I just can't get my head around that. I think that's
yes. It's funny because when you go back to the origins, many of the parties that we went to back in the day, they may have started at 8, 9, 10 o'clock, but they go to like 6, 7 in the morning.
That is true. We've brought the sunshine in many a day. That's for sure.
Do you guys over there? Do you have a like a cut-off time that you're allowed to kind of play music to, and what time the bars close?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think, definitely. There are some licenses that allow some places to go well into the night, and then others generally have to be done by 2 or something like that. But in some zones, they have places that can license to, wee hours of the morning. Dreammaker Diva sent her love out. SoulGasmic, I know you know Dreammaker Diva. And yes, much love to her. So as a streamer, what are some of the advantages that you see, as you're out there doing your stream, as opposed to being live?
I think there's, again, like a lot of the stuff that I would do for a stream, the way that I would go about producing my sets and stuff like that are very similar to what I would do live. But I think there's quite a huge difference between streaming and being live. Obviously, one, having a crowd in front of you, although I do view the Twitch chat as the crowd. So generally, if you've got a nice bouncy chat room, it can reflect how you DJ and where you go with your set sometimes. But the main thing I think when you're DJing live is when you're at home and you're in your nice little comfort blanket, you've got the perfect setup exactly how you want it. Many a time you turn up to a bar and a club and it's just not like that. Mixer's broken, only one monitor working, and you have to be able to go in and get around that and still, put on a performance. So I think that's the main difference really, live to kind of being at home in that security blanket, as I like to call it.
Oh, the chat, they're doing it now. SoulGasmic 24 Lisa, what's good? Good to see you. They're starting to go crazy in chat land.
So, I've got the Twitch chat up in front of me. I'm just sitting there.
So hey, you guys, if you're on Twitch, let SoulGasmic know you're out there. Give them the emotes. Let them see you. And we appreciate you so much for joining us, and know that we can see you out there. And if you're on Facebook Live or YouTube, we appreciate you for tuning in. This is just such a fascinating conversation. DJ Dewey B, when you think about SoulGasmic's comments on streaming, what does that say to you?
It's totally correct there, DJ D Lot. It's a completely different scenario when you have a crowd in front of you than seems like you can be more yourself when you're on your stream. You can just let it all loose, play some songs that maybe you don't usually play when you're out,
Yeah.
and take the crowd in a totally different direction. So it's a great thing. It's a great thing to have some freedom sometimes, Sometimes you got to play those hits when you're in a live crowd. You got to play the hits continuously. So
yes, oh yeah, I hear you. I like what you were saying, SoulGasmic, about the setup. You have your way you want to deliver your curated music, and you get to do that when you stream and you have your own stream. I will say I find myself sometimes at the mercy of technology when I'm streaming. Case in point, the other day, my entire music connection, all my connections to my music and stuff was gone. So I had that crazy look, the Serato look or whatever they call it. Like, what? A question I think Dreammaker Diva had for you is, how did you get introduced to house? I know you said something a little bit earlier, but take a little more time to talk about your introduction to house.
Yeah, so again, like I was just finishing off where I left off, like sort of late 90s, the kind of dance scene came in, but it wasn't really called house then. And I know like house was a thing way in America, way before it was a kind of crept over here. But it wasn't until probably around 2003. And bearing in mind, it was still a really underground thing there. And it was someone who I sort of class as one of my mentors now. He was the guy who, Auntie DJ, welcome in. He did a local night down my local pub, and it was like funky house. And I was like, oh, never heard of this before. Me and my friends used to go down there regularly every Sunday, even though I was a baker at the time. I had to be up for work at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I would still go down regardless. And that was like my first kind of time experience in that. And it just connected with me straight away. And we'll probably touch on some of the reasons why in some other questions. But yeah, 2003, down the pub on a Sunday night. That was a guy called Neil Hardingham. So
that's awesome. Well, so we have something else in common. DJ Dewey B might remember this. When I was in college, I tried to work at a baker, and they would have me try to get up there at 5 and 6 in the morning. So I got fired from that job. But I gave it a shot.
The early ones weren't good.
No, not at all. How'd you come up with the name SoulGasmic?
So again, it took me quite a long. It's one of those ones that came to me in the middle of the night. I spent ages trying to think about it, and I've always had a thing for trying to connect two words together. The soul thing kind of came from sort of soulful house and that type of thing, and the gasmic thing actually came from orgasms. So that kind of feeling, and that's what kind of put those two together, and SoulGasmic came about, and I was like, oh, that sounds quite good. So I went with it, and that's why it's because it's two words. That's why it's a capital S and a capital G. So
I love how you put that thinking together of the experience of house music, and how emotions, the kind of emotions, and it can drive. I really love that. Danny Bongo said he is here now. And welcome aboard. Good to see you. Everybody out there in Twitch, we appreciate you so much. And if you're again, Facebook or on YouTube, appreciate you for tuning in. We're just having a great time talking to SoulGasmic. Who were some of your influencers as you got going? Who are some of the DJs you listened to or places you hung out?
So initially, this is probably going to sound like a bit corny, but influencers, I kind of my family members, but indirectly. I have to give a big shout out to my mum because she kind of brought me up surrounded by music, and it was almost like a subconscious thing. And that's
Mm,
where the kind of soul side of my music came in, because I was always not listening to it myself, but it always be on like Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie and that kind of soul-y Motown stuff. Um, so that was kind of like, I think, where my connection has come from subconsciously. My granddad was a very classical man and had a very kind of like orchestral type of influence on me. And as much as at the time I was like, what is this? Like, it's not for me. But now I kind of connect back to that. So when you get these really nice orchestral pieces in music, that's not like my connection back there as well. Um, but then when I got into actual sort of the DJing side of things, a big person for me, one of my favorite producers is a guy called Rasmus Faber.
mm.
Um, I don't know how well known he is with you guys out there. He's really kind of big in Japan and Scandinavia, where he comes from. And again, he has two sides. He has this DJ side, and he also has like a big orchestra as well. And also a guy called Jamie Lewis, who is Purple Music. Um, he kind of like set the mold for me with that whole kind of soul disco thing. So yeah, they were two really big influences for me early on.
That's awesome. DJ Dewey B, talk about the expansive uh, reach of this music and how we often in the U.S. talk about similar names, but SoulGasmic just gave us names I'm not familiar with, and I'm sure some of our listeners aren't. It just speaks to how big this thing is.
It's huge. That's why record companies make billions of dollars on us yearly. Um, but really, what it's all about there, D Lot, is connection, man. It's the music is our connection. It makes us realize we are all the same people and love the same things. No matter where you're from, South Africa, Asia, UK, it doesn't matter. It connects us.
Absolutely. Well, I see Dreammaker Diva and Danny Bongo having a conversation. They love your stream, love your vibe, love your music. So, hey, that is a big testament when, the crowd just is all about the work that you do. Because I often say, our job is to curate an experience, a sound experience. And, we have to be happy with what we curate. DJ Dewey be always he always tells me, play my vibe. Don't try to do somebody else's vibe. Do you, D-Lot. Do you. And, if you're true to that, your audience will see all that, and they're going to feel that, and they're going to vibe with you. Or, they're going to go, who else, tickles their fancy. And that's why it's so expansive. And with that said, there was a question about your baking. Do you still bake, and how does that tie to your music?
Yeah, I still, when I get time, I like to, particularly like my daughter's 13 now, and she's just got into that as well. So she's taken to that side of things, which is good. But I don't get as much time as I'd like. But yeah, I still, when I get time, I do. I mean, it must be best part of, I think I left baking 2005, so decent amount of time ago.
Yeah,
Still
yeah.
like cake, like give me cake any day of the week.
We've got another question for you. What's with the flip flop theme? Where'd that come from?
Hey, well, I just love wearing them. Pretty much that is what it has come from. You will normally, people have caught me wearing them in the snow. I've actually had a flip flop go down, break on me in the snow. It's like, but yeah, I just wear them all year round. Like my motto is, if I've got to put socks on, I'm saving time by not doing that. Flip flops, I'm out the door. So, so yeah,
Another question.
everybody kind of basically said that was where the Mr. Flip Flop thing comes from. That's where the House of Flip Flops comes from. So it's just what people associate
Ah,
with me. So
that's great. Oh my gosh. Oh, there's another question for you. Have you ever considered getting into production?
I have a little bit. I had a little dabble probably 5 or 6 years ago, and then I realized that I just didn't have time to commit to doing it. Um, it fascinates me, but I think I'm better at just playing it. Just like leave it to the guys who know how to produce it, and I'll spin it. It's when you start delving into it. I mean, it's like there's a whole other rabbit hole down there of that. Some of the guys that with their productions, I mean, they're so clever.
Yeah, DJ Dewey B, comment on that.
Well, it's the holy grail for me, my friend. I've been chasing it for seems like 1,000 years. So it's just a natural progression from DJing to production. If you let it be, you don't have to. It definitely is a money pit. For sure.
Yeah, the kit is ridiculous, isn't it? How much money you throw out at that.
Yes.
Yeah, well, hey, the way you curate the music, you're finding some of the best produced house music. I just enjoy listening to you. And to your point, some people can make it, but there's some people that have a real knack for playing it. And I was listening to, I forget who I was listening to today, and I was saying, curating that vibe is a big deal. Because it's not just about playing records and beat matching. It's about taking people on a journey and telling a story with that music that you have in your crate and the way you put it together, the order and where you take them. It's just incredible. Another question for you, which will actually lead to a question I have. Do you plan to stay on Twitch as the world continues to open up?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things that when I was already doing a few live streams to kind of promote, I'd done an annual garden party, and we were doing some live streams on Facebook before that kind of the pandemic hit. So I was already kind of set up to go with that. But I did that thing of going, oh, everyone's doing it. I don't want to do it. And I kind of went against the grain. And it wasn't until a few people kind of just said, oh, would you do something? Which I did, and then I really enjoyed it, and it's just been a constant thing ever since. And it gives me something to keep me motivated with what I love. I don't play out very often. I probably play out 5 or 6 times a year if I'm lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So if I wasn't doing this, I probably wouldn't be looking for tunes and practicing and learning new tricks and all that type of thing. So yeah, I'm definitely going to continue to do it. And well, never say never, but at the moment, I think so. Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, SoulGasmic, you are the most questioned guest we have ever had. Yes. Besides house, do you have other genres of music that you enjoy?
To listen to or to DJ? Was that Dream Like a Diva?
Yes.
Yeah. So to listen to, yeah, I when I was at college, I liked my band stuff. I kind of went through that indie period that everyone goes through over here in the UK, so Oasis and Blur and the Verve, Shed 7, that type of thing. So I still like listening to that. Crowded House, Jerry Rafferty, Michael Jackson, all of those kind of people that I probably was influenced by my mum growing up. Occasionally, I don't mind a little bit of naughty drum and bass every now and again. It's something that my daughter is massively into at the moment, and I have to kind of pick and choose my times when it's like, no, not that one, not that one. But yeah, mainly I'm a house head, but I do have other things that I like to listen to.
That's great. Another question. Dream Maker Diva.
Yeah, keep them coming.
So how about your favorite Twitch DJs?
That's a good one, actually. I really like the House Addict. You'll probably know how I step my stream up. I really like the DJ booth streams. They're like my favorite streams to watch. So the House Addict, I really like him. He's good on the mic. He's good at mixing, and he just has like a good interaction. Depsy Underground, as you know, which is where we met. The vibe on there, the kind of community feel is really good, and obviously it hosts a huge range of DJs from different parts of the world. That's really good. So yeah, I'd probably say the House Addict is one of my favorites.
Awesome. Hey, DJ Dewey B, you jump on that. Who are you listening to out there?
Well, I spend most of my time with my friends. That's you, DJ D Lot, and Dwayne Aiken, mostly. But I do check out Terry Hunter every time he's on, Louis Vega when he's on, and the Dave Morales Sunday Mass show. I check that out.
Yeah.
So, Eh,
Now, do you curate? For me, I love listening to a lot of DJs on Twitch because it gets me exposed to music that I may not necessarily be in my lane normally. So I get new music from a lot of these DJs as well. You find that same thing, SoulGasmic?
Yeah, I think it's funny because there's not like huge amounts of places to kind of create big records from, or MP3s is what they are now.
Yeah.
Whereas when they were records back in the day, stuff was far more rare. So I think you find more people generally play more of the same stuff now, but
Mm.
you'll still find you'll go in other rooms, and because of I don't know, they'll like particular producers and DJs that you might not know of. You'll hear a track, all of a sudden you're like, oh, where's that come from? I need that. And that's the thing that I love. That's I think that's our job as a DJ. I think it's all too easy sometimes to play the big songs and the classics, and there is a time and a place for that. But I think we really need to be introducing new music. I think that's the big thing for me, where when somebody comes into my channel, I'd love it if they go away going, oh, I remember Soulgasmic playing that, or for the first time, that was where I heard it. So
Yeah, and Dewey, I'm gonna ask you to chime in on that because you are always scouring the earth for new music.
yes, yes, yes. I listened to SoulGasmic set this morning, and yeah, I found some new music on it. So I'm just gonna tell you that's how it goes down, man. You wanna hear some good stuff, some new stuff, some stuff that makes you move, and that's the nature of the beast. That's what we do. That's what we do as DJs.
And it's just something that I've always tried to underscore every now and again is that being a DJ, a true DJ, is a commitment to the craft. You listen to hours and hours and hours of music outside of doing your set. You work on what works together, what blends, and what you actually edit tracks and play them differently than they were actually made when you present them to your audience. People don't know that. And it's important that they understand that the DJ is worth his hire. If there's a DJ and he's producing music, buy his music, support the DJ. If Give him a hype train if you're on Twitch. Don't hold back. Help them support their channels so that they continue to invest in the great musical experience that they bring each and every time they're on the stream. So, Gasmic, would you agree with that?
yeah, I think the community side of it, I think that's what you find with a lot of the bigger channels. They seem to have a lot more local support all the time, if that makes sense. I think
Yeah.
that's why they're already doing well. Whereas, the likes of myself, I'm a fairly small community as such. But regardless of whether that's 2 people or 200 people, it's it's the passion that they bring into the room and the support. It's the people that turn up week in, week out, and I'd still be here doing it because I enjoy doing it, whether I've got one person or not. But it does make a huge difference when you've got people that are coming in week after week, returning, and it kind of just it brings it all together for me.
That's awesome. Hey, you're listening to House Culture Conversations, and I can tell you right now, we're going to go into a few extra minutes or extra innings, as it were. What's the biggest gig you have ever played?
Probably White Noise Festival, which was it's a Volkswagen festival that it's actually now housed back in Norwich, which is my closest city. But at the time, it was a little bit further afield. Um, it's probably I don't know, it was a couple of thousand, so that probably doesn't sound much, but it was quite a big deal to me. But yeah, that was really good. That was probably around 2015, something like that.
Well, your commitment has inspired SpongeBob Dave to get back into DJing. So, keep up the good work. The people are watching and people are being inspired. What is your process for mining new music? I know we talked a little bit about watching other DJs, but what's your process?
Um, when you mean mining, I guess you mean looking, yeah, sort of
Yes.
like
Yeah.
gold digging.
Yeah.
Oh, just digging deep. Like I kind of have a system that I do. So I'm busy most of the week. Like I'm self-employed, I run my own business. So track source normally, Beatport not very often, but track source goes on in the van. So in the mornings on the way to work, I'll have the Soulful House charts on, and I'll just be listening as I'm driving. On the way home, I'll have the Jack in House charts on, and I just kind of grab stuff, put it in my cart, set it to one side, and then I'll shortlist it. And then obviously once I've then get a bit more time towards the end of the week, I start going through DJ charts and just digging deep and just trying to find tracks that you don't hear other people playing. I really try and look hard for kind of new up and coming producers as well. And just trying to be, like I say, you can never be first at everything. But I think there's a few producers that I've found just this last few years, which I don't really see other guys playing too many of their tunes. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Fat Man Jim said hello. Welcome aboard.
Hey,
Good
Fat
to
Man.
see you. We are getting ready to land this plane, but we appreciate all of your questions. I think there's one that we'll finish and we'll all answer this one. It's what makes a good Twitch DJ and how does it differ from in real life DJing?
I don't know if there's actually such a thing as what makes a good Twitch DJ, because I think it depends on the person and what you class as good. If you like watching a guy who's got full of tricks, someone like James Hype, for example, have you heard of him over in the US?
I have not. You'll have to send
I
that
mean,
to me in the whisper
yeah,
so I can look him up.
Guy's crazy. I mean, he's like a bit like Roger Sanchez, 4 decks on the go, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. If you like that, if that's your perception of good, then obviously that's going to be what you like. If your perception of good is watching someone with a rotary mixer just doing some nice smooth blending. But for me, when I tune in to kind of look for a good Twitch channel, I like good interaction. So I don't want to just tune in and watch someone who's not using a microphone and just got their head down and mixing, because you can just stick a mix on and listen to that. I want to see the DJ's personality. I want him to have a giggle, I want to get his personality across. So, when you pop in the chat, you can have some banter. And I think that's the key thing with Twitch. It's not streaming is neither radio nor real life. It's its own little entity in the middle. And I think you have to find a balance, because you don't want to be talking over the music too much, but you have to have a balance with, speaking to the chat, responding to what they're doing, as well as obviously doing the skills and the good mixing and all that type of thing. So, and obviously when you're live, if you're playing out at a gig, again, that's the Twitch chat is like I was saying earlier, that's the crowd. If you've got a crowd that's not dancing, you've got to try and get them dancing. But you don't kind of have a chat to get that vibe. So you're literally just going by, well, are people dancing or not dancing? And if people pop to a track, you go, okay, I know where I'm going now. It's that type of thing. So there's a big difference with, you can read a chat. Sometimes you can have a lot of people in the chat, but there's not a lot of people talking. They might just be doing a bit of curtain twitching while they're at work or however it is. So they're both their own entities, but there is a crossover, if it makes sense.
Absolutely. DJ Dewey B, your thoughts?
Well, I come from live DJing. There was no Twitch when I started a million years ago. So I don't have a whole lot of things to say. I just don't. That's not where we came from back then. We based our show on playing records and making people move. So I don't.
It's like the next evolution, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it is. And it's cool. It's cool for some people. It's just might not be my thing. I can rap on the mic forever, but that's not how I DJ. I'm constantly thinking about my next record, or I want to loop something up, or I'm into the vibe of the music, so I don't have a whole lot to say. So I'm not a traditional Twitch DJ in that sense. But I love what you guys do. Don't get me wrong. I love what you do, and God bless you. But I play mostly for me nowadays.
Yeah. And, it's interesting. The conversation makes me think about, to your point, DJ Dewey B, back in the day, you just played records and you curated. And interestingly enough, now, I'm kind of getting into more interacting. However, it really messes up the recording.
Yeah.
So, if you want to actually have a recording of the set and there's a lot of talking in it, you can't really, put it up on YouTube or put it in other spaces and places, and you can't. It's harder to market because you have all that kind of going on. So it's something to think about. But I think to your point, your audience, though, from an engagement standpoint, the interaction can really create that energy.
Yes.
And so, to your point, SoulGasmic, it really depends. It depends on what the intention is of the streamer and what that audience is looking for. Because whatever you're looking for, it's out there on those Twitch streets. So you just have to figure out what it is you're looking for, and you'll find it. Hey, SoulGasmic, I appreciate you staying up. It's 12:30 a.m. on the 2nd. And this has been wonderful. I appreciate you taking the time. Everybody drop him some hearts to let him know we appreciate him staying up on the other side of the pond to just share with us his love of house music and the culture. DJ Dewey B, any last thoughts?
Follow SoulGasmic DJ on Twitch and check out his show. It's a great show. It's a fabulous.
Yes. Let us know, when do you actually stream?
Friday nights. So that's about the only time I really get to do it. So 8 p.m. UK time, which I think is around 1 o'clock your time.
It's 6 hours from Chicago. So if you're on at 8, it's like 2 in the afternoon.
Okay. Yeah. I was going, don't put me on the spot with maths.
Yeah, 2 in the afternoon, Chicago time, 3 New York time. So check them out, and we will catch you next time on House Culture Conversations. Thanks. I appreciate you being on here.
Peace.
You do a great job.
Hey, thanks. So guys, we're going to talk to you later. We'll see you out there.